Hey, I'm Damien Baxter on the Creators Unlocked podcast with LiveLink. I'm joined today by Ellie Perkins. Ellie,
hello.
Welcome. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good.
So Ellie is a bit of a whiz when it comes to copywriting. You also made it as finalist for Young Freelancer of the Year.
I did.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
How was that experience?
It was a bit wild. I mean, a lot of suits, a lot of champagne, woke up a bit hazy the next day. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, thanks.
How many people were in that room?
I feel like it was like 200 or something. But it was really fun because the host was a guy from The Chase. And like he did this whole stand-up and it was honestly a great experience. But
Is that Bradley?
no, it was one of the...
Oh, the
like,
Beast.
yeah, it wasn't the Beast. It was one of them people though, like one of the clever people.
The clever people.
Yeah, so I was a bit intimidated.
No, you're a clever person yourself, I'm sure. That's great. So you, Young Freelancer of the Year, how did that come about? Did they contact you? Did you apply? Like, how does that work?
So I went to apply, but I saw that the deadline had passed. And I went on the website again near my birthday in September and they'd actually extended the deadline. Okay. So I was like, okay, I've been freelancing for a full month now, like I might as well apply. So I did, and yeah, I got shortlisted as a finalist.
And then what, did they just send you an email and go, hey, congratulations?
Yeah, like, congrats, you're a finalist for this category. Come along to London for the awards ceremony. Yeah.
And did you have to give a speech?
No, thankfully.
I'd like to thank all my fans.
I would have died if I had to do a speech.
Well, congratulations. That's quite an achievement.
Thank you.
So I want to sort of dig into that a little bit, actually. So you were fresh out of university. You did a degree in philosophy.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting in itself. But most people, when they come out of university, they go, okay, what shall I do in terms of a job? You know, who will employ me and why will they employ me? But not you. You thought, I'm going to go freelance. And that's what you did.
This is true, yeah.
That takes some guts. How did that even come about?
I mean, I started writing Sunny back in January because my old boss, I worked in marketing when I was like 19. And my old boss asked me how much I'd charge to write a blog post. Okay. So I Googled like, how much do people charge to write a blog post? And I took off a tenner. I was like, okay, 20 quid an hour. But I saw the word copywriter and I was like, oh, this could actually be a thing. I could do this as like a part-time thing alongside my degree. That'd be a good idea to get some extra money. So yeah, I just started that weekend. I set up my own website, set up an Instagram, came up with the name Right and Sunny. And on Monday, just started putting out content, writing blog posts for this one client, and it just grew from there. I graduated in June, and then I did get a job for a couple of months as a graduate marketing executive. But because my freelance work was going so well, I just decided, let's do this, and just went full time in August.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Any looking back?
Nope, I absolutely love it.
Do you?
Yeah, I really, really do.
Is this you forever now? You're happy?
I hope so. I mean, like we were talking about earlier, I've had like 15 jobs.
Yeah.
I usually chop and change after about a year, but it's almost been a year and I'm pretty settled, so fingers crossed.
That's so good to hear. Well, we might go into the chopping and changing bit a bit later. Before we do, though, copywriting as a concept sounds a bit dull, doesn't it? Copywriting,
let's be honest.
But it's not. It's far from it. It's the heartbeat of many businesses. Talk me through exactly what a copywriter does.
Yeah, I mean, when I told my family I was going to be a copywriter, they were like, what? You're going to write legal stuff? Like, what's that? But it's basically, copy is everywhere. Like, it's on social media posts, it's on posters, it's Facebook ads, it's websites, it's literally any word that comes out of like a business's mouth. So social media posts is definitely like my favorite thing to do. But I do love doing website and stuff like that as well. So it's really varied and I love that.
I guess that's a struggle in itself. So how do you actually deal with these continuously changing tone of voices? Because I guess you have one client that's like, hey, we want a very professional, very serious tone of voice. And then somebody else who wants, fuzz and suzz in every other sentence.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with those different changes?
I mean, so on Tuesdays, I have about 12 clients that I write social media posts for, and they vary so massively. Like, some of them are really corporate and do like financial stuff, which I don't really understand, but I try. And some of them are like American, so you've got to have the Zs and the Os instead of the Ous. Some of them have like emojis after like full stops before the emojis. But I sort of see it as like acting. Like, I come up with this whole persona of who the person is and what their values are and how I imagine they would speak. Obviously, they give words like, I want to come across as friendly or chatty or funny. And it is just like acting, but like behind a screen. So I'm not actually having to like be in front of a camera. And yeah, I just try and embody that person and think what would they want to say? How would they write? And it's funny because one of my clients said before, like, it's so wild because it's as if I wrote that, but better. Like, you wrote it better than I would have. So yeah,
That's
it's
amazing.
really, yeah, it's great.
That's quite a compliment. I mean, yeah. Do you have to understand a lot about their product though? Because you're talking about, you get people that want legal jargon.
Yeah.
I say jargon, sorry if I offended anyone there. But how do you get your head around their product to be able to put across that in your copy?
A lot of video calls and a lot of research. So I have this whole folder on my Google Chrome, which is dedicated to like trends. So because my clients are so diverse, like I've got trends from all sorts of industries and I just keep on top of that, whether it's like Shopify or UX UI design. I am not a specialist in any of those areas, but because I am so passionate about doing the research about it, that really helps.
Yeah. Do you know what's interesting as well? Exactly what you just said there this morning on my train journey to the office, I actually put a post out about you on LinkedIn, which I'm sure you've seen. And one of the comments that came across was that was obviously from one of your followers that had said that they love your content on social media, on LinkedIn specifically, then that they find you so authentic and real. And that is what differentiates you from other creators or other people putting out content on there.
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to get across? Is it truly authentic? Is it, today I'm waking up and this is what I want to put on social media? Or is it more scripted than that?
No, it absolutely is authentic. And whenever I write a post that is very like personal, so say it's about like coming off antidepressants, or earlier this week I spoke about experiencing burnout, whenever I post something like that, like my heart is racing so fast and I get so scared to press post and I just don't want to check the post after, because it's so like vulnerable, it's so me, and it's scary doing that. Like, it really is. But it's nice that people can see that I am being authentic and that it is me. And I think that's probably what has got me clients, because people want to do business with people they trust. And if I'm that open and honest on social media, I'm going to be that open and honest with them, like one-to-one.
What are you so scared of? Are you scared that people are going to say quite negative things about your post, or even like online bullying, I suppose?
Yeah, I guess so, because I feel like there are two sides of LinkedIn. Like, there's the nice side where it's like, yeah, don't overwork, like, self-care. And then there's some like usually old white men who comment on your posts and they're like, no, you've got to work really hard, or like
very traditional values.
Very traditional, yeah. And I find those comments quite hard because I'm really sensitive. So when I see like nasty comments, I'm like, oh no.
And
like,
do you bite back?
No.
No, because yeah, it's probably better.
I probably should though. Like, I really respect people who do, but I'm just too scared.
No. Well, I think the main thing is that you're very much coming across as yourself, and if you feel comfortable biting back, by all means do. But if you don't, then don't let people bring you down, because we love your content. So.
Thank you.
Are you? So obviously that's probably a bit of a struggle that you have to face on a daily basis. I hope not a daily basis, but when you started your own business, did you come across any struggles straight away? Was there something that was unexpected?
I guess there were a couple of struggles that I had, and one of them was on LinkedIn. You see people go self-employed and they're living like the life of luxury. They're like working from different countries. They're working like 2 hours a day, but getting like £10,000 a month. And I feel like there is this whole narrative around self-employment that is very positive, which is good because it is a great thing to do. But when you go self-employed, particularly in the first couple of months, it's really hard to adjust to it. And I know I quit my job because I didn't want my whole life to be work. I wanted my own freedom. But very quickly I realised, oh no, like I am working like 7-day weeks all the time because I've got to do my own marketing, I've got to do all my clients, I've got to do all my admin. Like there's a lot to take on, and I don't think the negatives of self-employment is necessarily like talked about as much. And another challenge I had was agoraphobia. Do you know what that is?
I do not.
Do you not?
Just publicly shame me. Why don't you, Ellie? What do you mean here?
So for a while, I couldn't leave the house because of anxiety, like quite bad. And because I am a copywriter, I spend a lot of time behind my computer, working from home, like on my little desk. And because I was doing that straight for like a month, I then got really scared to leave the house and I just couldn't do it. And it made anxiety really bad because the more you stay in, the harder it is to go out. And I remember going for a coffee with my friend, and she was like after a month of like not being able to go out much, and she was just like, oh, well done for coming for a coffee. And in that moment I was like, I just got congratulated for leaving the house to go for a coffee. Like it's really got that bad.
Gosh.
So I think agoraphobia was probably like the biggest challenge I face.
When did you realise that was a real problem?
I've had it a lot like in teenage years. So like I know that I have anxiety and that agoraphobia is a thing that I experience. But yeah, I think it was that moment when my friend said like, well done for coming for a coffee, that I was like, okay, I need to get out more and like I need to beat this.
Were you anxious about coming here today?
Yeah, I was, but I came to London last week, so I think that sort of like eased the nerves of getting on a train and walking around London and trying to find my way.
So did you have to do anything to prepare yourself for today, like mentally?
No, I mean, I got a good night's sleep last night, which
Good
I guess
stuff.
always helps, and had a big breakfast and a nice lunch. So
Shreddies. Was it Shreddies?
That's my favourite.
Oh, no, that's your favourite.
Egg on toast.
Oh yeah, egg on toast. Sorry, I was on bran flakes as well, just for the audience.
Dead.
Okay, so when did you know? So when was that moment where you thought, do you know what? This is going to work. I don't need to go into a 9-to-5 job employed by somebody else doing a job I don't like day in, day out. I can do my own thing. When did you have that realization?
I don't know if I have yet, but probably at the Freelancer Awards last week was when I realized, okay, like this could be a real thing. Like this could be a long career. It could be successful. And I guess after a month of going freelance, that's when I became fully booked with clients. And I remember listening to a podcast. It was called Being Freelance, I think. And a guy on it said, finding clients is never going to be your biggest concern. Like that's not going to be a challenge that you're going to face. And I remember thinking, it must be so stressful, but it honestly isn't. Like that's like the least worry I have, because there are always people that need copywriters, but it's just all the other stuff that comes with self-employment.
So how did that even work? Like, did you just randomly one day put a post out and then all of a sudden you had clients, or did that require a bit of work and sort of strategizing from your side?
Yeah, I mean, it's consistent posting on LinkedIn. That's where most of my clients come from.
Okay.
And a couple have come from Instagram. And I guess just demonstrating, I don't really do this much on LinkedIn. I just like overshare about my mental health and stuff. But on Instagram, I demonstrate like thought leadership and like what makes good copy and all like marketing carousels and things like that. So I guess people then think, okay, we can like trust this person. She knows what she's talking about.
Yeah. And I mean, it's very clear in your copy that you do. I mean, the amount of engagement you get is fantastic. So well done.
Thanks.
I want to sort of dig into that journey that you've taken. So when did you first fall in love with words? Like, let's go right back and maybe to sort of earlier years.
Yeah.
Was it something that happened in the family, or was it something to do with your upbringing, or was it very much just something that was self-taught and you just enjoyed it? How did it look?
I think it was self-taught because in primary school, I actually was one of those kids that had to leave the lesson to do extra spellings because I was really bad. So I didn't really like English until high school, where all my English teachers, like every year, they were amazing and I just absolutely loved them. Like in year 9, my English teacher, she would take me for a coffee at lunch and like we would just chat in her room and in her classroom. And I guess it was just the teachers that I had like really made me fall in love with English. So I went to study English and creative writing at uni for a year. And that's when I was like, I really love writing creatively, and poetry was my thing back then. Okay. Especially as a teenager, I was very angsty and I was like, this is how I'm going to like talk about my depression. Like I'm just going to write out in poetry. I don't write as much poetry anymore, which is a bit sad, but I love writing for brands. And I guess when I did philosophy at uni, it was all about taking big concepts that are so hard to like wrap your head around and reforming it into a concise way that people can understand. And that's what taught me how to be a good copywriter.
Okay. I mean, it does just show the importance of a good teacher, right? I mean, you were brought up with a teacher that clearly inspired you. And one of the things that we push at LiveLink is that everybody has something that they can teach. So it is amazing that, you know, possibly just a couple of hours or a few hours a week with this one person has inspired or been that sort of seed to where you've grown to today. So
yeah, I actually saw that teacher when I was drunk, like walking home around Christmas, and I just like cried to her. I was like, I love you, like thank you so much for everything. So she definitely knows that like she inspired me a lot.
That must be a really nice thing to hear as well, because I've been a teacher myself.
Have you? What did you teach?
I actually taught outdoor education.
Did you?
I did. And one of the things that is better than anything to ever hear is that, you know, not only are you a great teacher, but it's I've now gone on to achieve things as a result of what you taught me. Yeah. So that must have been really nice for your teacher to hear.
I hope so.
I definitely would have done. Well, I'm going to jump over to this then. So you've mentioned it or touched upon it a little bit in this conversation we've had, but you were actually recently diagnosed as having ADHD, weren't you? Yeah. I do feel like there's a lot of misconceptions around ADHD, and I know we had a very sort of informal conversation upstairs and had a cup of tea, and I told you about my misconceptions with ADHD and sort of what I'd grown up to learn about it.
Yeah.
How do you think... Well, 2 questions, I suppose. First one is, what is ADHD and how has it affected your daily life, personally and professionally?
I mean, as I said before with the changing jobs a lot, I think that's probably one of the biggest ways it's affected me. But if you told me 5 years ago that I had ADHD, I would laugh in your face and be like, no, that is completely wrong. Because the only person I'd ever seen or like known of with ADHD was like this naughty little boy in my class in primary school who would like throw scissors and dance on the table. And I was like a really good kid and did well at school. And so I just thought that doesn't like correspond to who I am. But it wasn't until my partner, he was doing medicine at uni and he came back from a psychiatry module and he said, 2 of the common signs of ADHD, one of them is always losing your purse and keys, and the other one is changing jobs a lot. And I was like, oh, really? Like, I think that was my light bulb. Okay, I think I could have this. I started looking into it. But I think there's ways that it affects me that aren't so obvious as someone who's got ADHD. So yeah, I find like focusing on something difficult. Yeah, I get distracted when I talk to someone, can't really watch films either. But there's hidden sides that aren't talked about enough. So rejection sensitive dysphoria is something I experience really badly. I'm super sensitive to criticism, which probably goes back to the comments on the post.
Okay.
But in a way that's like completely outrageous. Like if my partner tells me I've loaded the dishwasher wrong, I will sob. And like, and I went to the dentist and they told me I had to have fillings and I spent all afternoon in bed crying. Like, it's so wild because...
Through fear of having the filling or...
No, just because I felt rejected and felt like I was a bad person, which I can't even make sense of it, but...
That's really interesting. So you just almost felt like you'd let the dentist down, or?
Yeah, I really don't know. It was just, I think that's something that I really struggle with, just any sort of criticism, which is why I'm such a perfectionist probably and overwork, so that I avoid it at all costs.
Hey, it's Mel at LiveLink here. We're making it possible for creators and experts to teach anything online. It is the easiest way to monetize your audience. We'll even sort out your video editing and email marketing for you, leaving you to do what you do best, creating. LiveLink.vip, where creators and experts teach.
Do you know what's really interesting, which is just a very off the cuff kind of question here? You struggled, or both?
With what?
With critique.
Oh, yeah, still.
Okay, so you struggle with critique, and you decided to make a business out of content creation and potentially influencing, which is the heartbeat of what you're doing, is engagement, interaction, comments, critiques.
Yeah.
Where was that decision? What happened there?
I mean, with the content creation side, I still struggle with it. I'm like, do I really want to be doing this? Like, should I just delete LinkedIn? But then I'm like, well, all of my clients come from that. With copywriting, it's not so much of an issue because I really do overwork, and like I am such a perfectionist to the point where I will check everything and make sure there aren't errors. And just try my best to get it right, like first time. So that's how I avoid it. But yeah, with content creation, it is hard. And I guess as I grow, it's probably going to get even harder. So it's probably time I equip myself with the tools to deal with it.
Do you feel like in that time that you've been on that journey, I mean, I know you've only been self-employed for a short period of time, but do you feel like your filter has become stronger?
My filter?
Filter's the wrong word. Your the way in which you handle those comments, those critiques, has become stronger. So are you more numb to them, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I guess so. I mean, my partner would probably say otherwise because I'm like, oh, look at what this person said. But he's just like, you've got to think there's a reason why they're saying it. Like, is it out of jealousy? Is it because they're having a bad day? Like, it's not about you, it's about them. That's why they're saying mean things. Yeah. So I think reframing it like that is really important.
Yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad you can do that, actually.
Yeah,
that's really important.
I try my best.
So just staying on the topic of ADHD, so I think you've almost alluded to this in the last comment you made, but do you find that it's been a hindrance on your career, or do you find that it's actually quite a positive thing? I know you spoke about it making you a perfectionist, which anyone that employs you will love to hear. But what's your thoughts on that?
I think previously it's hindered me because, as I said, I couldn't stay in a job for longer than a year. But I think that impulsivity is what has made me get to this point. Like, impulsively setting up a website, setting up a business, in fact, over a weekend. Like, I don't think I'd have done that if I didn't have ADHD. So I think just having the bravery to try new things and to not worry about the consequences. Sometimes, okay, it could go wrong, but I think that is a positive thing, especially as an entrepreneur. And I think I saw a statistic that was like over half of entrepreneurs have ADHD.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Explains a few things.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
I don't know whether it's because people feel like they can't fit into like a normal workplace, or if it's because they've got ideas that they need to express, but I found that really interesting. In fact, I thought it'd be higher than that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I think we're in a world now where things like ADHD and mental health difficulties, et cetera, are very widely spoken about, and we are much better at diagnosing these issues and knowing how to deal with it. Certainly when I was growing up, there was none of that. I'm really not that old, everyone that's listening, but it just shows, like I think I'm quite young, but it just shows how much we've moved on in such a short period of time. And I don't know if that's just the fact that I've moved to London and everything's more modern here, or whether that's still the case where I'm from in Lancashire. But I do think it is really good that people like yourselves, that people look up to, whether you've looked at it like that or not, as an influencer, love that word or hate it, that people look up to you as a role model and think, do you know what, if Ellie can talk about this, then why can't I? And actually, someone who's super cool online has got ADHD. Maybe it's not something to be ashamed of anymore.
Yeah.
And people being able to say that is quite an important thing, which we never had when I was growing up.
No, I bet that was really hard.
Yeah. I'm not saying I have ADHD. Maybe I do. I don't know.
We'll find out.
Yeah. But I can imagine there's a lot of people listening to this right now that are thinking, gosh, I would never have the guts to be so public about that as, say, Ellie is.
Yeah.
And have a lot of admiration for you.
Oh, that's really nice. I feel like people like Ellie Middleton has really made it, like she really advocates for ADHD and autism. So I feel like seeing her online talk about it is making like employers more inclusive and people more accepting of themselves. So I do think it's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
It's okay.
I'm just going to change the tone a little bit now.
Oh, no.
Maybe too soon. I don't know. How much money can an employed copywriter make? Like, what's a typical wage for a copywriter?
So I think experienced copywriters can earn up to like £80,000.
Okay.
Which is pretty wild. Probably more than that. Yeah, they earn a lot.
What about sort of fresh out of uni, first job? What sort of a starting wage there?
I think the statistics are like anywhere between 250 for a day to up to like 500 for a day.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good.
And how does that compare to you? So I guess my next question is, how much money do you make as a self-employed copywriter?
So last month I made about 3,600 before tax, which is so strange because obviously the past 3 years I've been a student on £8,000 a year.
That's amazing.
So, but do you know what's funny is that I feel like everyone just adjusts to how much they have, because on £8,000 I wasn't like particularly struggling that much, and now I've got more money, I just spend it more, and like I am really impulsive with spending, which is not great, but like each week me and my partner go for a date night and like I don't feel guilty, I don't have to like worry about what I'm picking up in Aldi. So it's really nice. And I didn't like grow up with having a lot of money or anything like that. So, and the best bit is taking my mum out for breakfast. Like it makes my life. It's just, yeah, it's the best.
I know, when you can return the favour from all those years of bringing you up, it's nice, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah.
So, that's good. Yeah. So, I mean, you've been self-employed for how long?
So I started in January, but I went full time in August.
Okay.
So
Great.
a few months.
Yeah, no, that's great. Okay, so with that in mind then, where do you get most of your clients from? I know you're on fire, not literally, metaphorically speaking, on LinkedIn at the moment. Your engagement's all over the place in a good way. I mean, it's growing and growing and growing. I'm like, if Ellie posts about me, I'm getting loads of comments. It's great. So that's what I'm going to push you for later. But where are most of these opportunities coming from, and are you getting more and more opportunities as you're growing your community on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I mean, most of my clients come from LinkedIn. I've got a client who I worked with back when I was 19 in my first marketing job, who is amazing. Mm-hmm. And a couple of them have come through Instagram as well. But like my business wouldn't exist without social media, which is scary and like strange to think. I've got a lot of opportunities coming my way through LinkedIn with regards to clients, and my waiting list is growing. I actually have a business coach as of this week.
Congrats.
Thanks.
Do I know them?
I'm not sure. He's called Stephen. He's from Norwich.
Oh, okay. Hi, Stephen.
Stephen.
Is he a content creator on LinkedIn as well?
No, he's not, but he's very wise, and I feel like he's the perfect person to help me when I finally decide to bring someone on or outsource, because it is getting to the point where I'm turning people away, and I don't really want to be doing that, especially when it's projects I'm passionate about. So
what's the plan moving forwards? Are you planning to scale, or are you quite happy just sort of surfing the wave at the level you're at the moment?
I'm happy at the moment, but I do think in the future I will want to bring people on potentially.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll
Haven't
see.
thought that far ahead, but...
Well, I read on your LinkedIn post the other day that you and your friend were in the car. And you, I would imagine it's quite a long journey, and you both turned around to each other, or one of you turned around to each other and said, tell me one thing that you love about me. And you recommended that all of your followers did the same.
Yeah.
What comment did the friend make about why they loved you?
So I was in a car with a few people. We were on our way to Birmingham. One of them said that they love that whatever problem they bring to me, it doesn't seem too small. So they can come to me with a like minor problem.
Okay.
And I will make it into like a big thing and like actually ask them questions and follow up and see how they are. The other friend said that she loves how strong and brave I am, which was like a really strange thing for me to hear because I don't necessarily see myself as strong, particularly like as someone who struggles with mental health. But that was really nice to hear. And the other one who I met just before I got in the car said that she loves that I'm creative. I think it's because I was wearing like squiggly trousers and like a rainbow jumper. So she was like creative. But yeah, nice comments. I really recommend it because it's really empowering.
You've got quite a number of tattoos as well, haven't you?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, they're not on display today, but
No.
what is that because of your creativity, or where does that all come from?
Yeah, all my impulsivity, who knows? I've got 27. I thought I had 25, but I missed a couple. A couple of them are matching tattoos with people who are close to me.
Oh, that's nice.
But not all of them mean stuff. Like a lot of them are really rubbish.
As in like random nights out that you'd hope to forget? Or...
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
and
okay.
like one is an avocado that my partner drew. And he drew it on my leg and I was like, I'm going to get that tattoo. And he was like,
Avocado. That's a big thing at the moment.
It
or
is.
it was. Maybe I've lost the trend, but I don't know.
No, you're right.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's great. And what did you say about your friends?
Oh, I can't really remember. Alex, who said that I was the strong one. I think I said that she's really hospitable. Like she always invites people around for tea, and she's really, really lovely and welcoming.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember what I said about my other friend Emily. When I had a really hard time during COVID, like my dad passed, I had anorexia. Really bad time.
Your dad had anorexia?
No, my dad passed and I had anorexia.
Oh, you had anorexia. Sorry.
Don't
Yeah,
be.
okay. I'm sorry to hear that, by the way.
No, don't be, it's fine. But she would pick me up every week and it was during COVID and we'd go for a walk and it's like, I just really appreciated that because having someone that you could just go to every week and go on a nice walk, have a nice coffee, she's amazing.
Yeah, and do tell me you'd rather not talk about it if you don't want to, but your dad, did he die in 2020, did you say?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just before lockdown.
Oh, that must have been really difficult then.
It was really rubbish. It was completely out of nowhere. Like I was hungover in bed, and I just got a call from his partner. Like Carl's had a stroke, and I was like, "He'll be all right. He had a heart attack 5 years ago. Like it won't be anything." I was looking up like mobility scooters. I was like, "Oh, he'd really like to see that one."
Oh, really?
But over like the next few days, he just really deteriorated, and yeah, it was a bit rubbish.
And that was whilst you're at university?
Yeah, I was in my second year.
Yeah, okay. And COVID as well.
I know. Bad timing.
Yeah, well, again, back to the strong and brave thing. I think in the short time that I've spoken to you, it's very clear that you are a very strong and brave individual.
Thank you.
Lose your father, to being diagnosed with ADHD in the middle of COVID when, the whole nation was struggling with their mental health, including myself, I'm quite happy to say.
Really?
And then go on to, graduate and then become self-employed and push your business to a stage where you have to have a waiting list. Like, how far have you come? Like, good going, So
Thank you.
good
It
on
means a
you.
lot.
I'm just going to finish off with a load of quick fire questions. If
Let's
that's
go.
all right, yeah. So these are really, really quick ones. So, money and no mates, or money and mates?
Wait, money and no mates, or mates and no money?
Yes.
Mates and no money.
Mates and no money?
Yeah.
100%.
Well, it depends what my partner's doing. If he's bringing home the bread, then mates.
Oh, no, I mean, you've got to pay for a house and stuff.
Oh, I know, it's rubbish, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, well. All right, on to the next one. Mates are important. Happy for your entire life with no money, or happy for 75% of your life with money?
Again, I guess it depends what my partner's doing, but probably 75% with money.
Yeah. Yeah. I know it's horrible to say, but we kind of need money, don't we?
Yeah.
Certainly in this world. Can't heat our houses otherwise, right? Pineapple on pizza or not?
No, and I know you love it, which is absolutely criminal.
Who doesn't like pineapple on their pizza?
Like normal people.
Really?
Yeah.
Except for it's popular enough to put on their shelves in Tesco. Ham and pineapple
Is
pizza.
it? Oh no.
Hawaiian pizza.
I'm going to write to them.
Winning the lottery or finding your soulmate?
Found mine, so winning the lottery.
Phone in the bathroom or no phone in the bathroom?
Oh, phone in the bathroom, which is horrible. Like I realised the other day I was having a shower and I was on my emails in the shower. I was like, why am I doing this?
You got a waterproof phone?
No, I don't even think it is.
Oh, well. Hope you got, Protect My Bubble?
Oh, I do.
Oh, you're all right then. Okay. One copywriting tool that you couldn't live without or software?
Google.
Google?
For all the research.
As in dictionary.com and all
Just,
that sort of stuff?
yeah, Google.
That's pretty good. Crunchy or smooth peanut butter?
Crunchy.
100%.
Nice.
Morning or night?
Night.
How night? How night are we talking here?
I mean, I used to have insomnia and got all my creativity out like in the early hours of the morning. I do go to bed quite early now, but I do find that I work better in the evening rather than the morning.
Straight in bed after Coronation Street now. Summer or winter?
Summer, definitely.
100%. Well, although winter in like Norway is fantastic because it's snow and ice. Winter here, it's like wind and rain and
yeah,
mud.
Miserable.
Yeah, nuts. 2 days without food or 2 days without sleep?
2 days without sleep and I'd just fill up on smoothies.
Smoothies?
Yeah.
It's a good shout. You're going to be tired though.
Yeah.
Messy desk or clean desk?
I've got a messy desk, but I'd love a clean desk.
But you're like, tell me about what a perfectionist you were.
I know, with work I am, but you should see my desk. It's awful. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Cherished or respected?
Respected?
That's good.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
Question mark.
It's your answer. Are you planning or are you winging it?
Guess.
I don't know. I want you to answer.
Winging. Absolutely winging it.
I think most of us are, to be honest. LinkedIn or TikTok? Ooh.
LinkedIn. I don't get on with TikTok.
No?
No.
Do you think the world's... I'm going to just come off the questions now. Do you think the world is moving in a direction where you're going to have to start getting on TikTok?
Yeah, I guess so. But the algorithm just hasn't figured me out. Like, when I go on it, I'm not hooked.
No?
No, and I just don't get how people do it.
No traction at all?
Not at all.
I think it's the style of content, though. I think the type of content you put out is quite a professional content.
Yeah,
So
maybe.
suited to LinkedIn. Cool. I might ask you the same question in 12 months' time.
Yeah, do it.
iOS or Android?
I've got an Android.
Okay.
I decided, you know what, it's time. I'm an adult. I'm going to be a mum. I'm not going to be a mum, but inhabit the mum mentality of getting an Android. So here I am.
So you went Android.
Yeah.
Do you wish you had an Apple?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Nice. Mobile phone or laptop?
Laptop.
Yeah?
Yeah, I love my laptop.
Well, you're good because your mobile phone will be broken if you keep taking it in the shower.
Yeah, this is true.
Weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
I once ate Chinese chips off the floor, like that I'd found. That's actually horrible, isn't it?
It's pretty horrible. I mean, it's not the chips bit, it's the fact they were on the floor.
I know, and like, whose were they?
Yeah,
I just looked at them and thought, I really want them.
Like in the street, in a puddle.
Not in a puddle, but yeah, on the street.
And you just like sat down with the seagulls and started eating the chips, yeah? Nice. All right. Biggest regret? It might be eating those chips, but go on.
Biggest regret? I honestly don't think I have one, which is such a cop-out.
It's good though.
Oh, I've got one.
Go on.
I didn't feed my tortoise for a while and it died when I was really young, so I regret that.
You had a tortoise. What was his or her name?
Aloysius.
Aloysius. Please explain.
I don't know, my mum had a tortoise when she was young and I just thought that's a cool name.
It's a cool name.
Yeah.
All right, nice. Rest in peace, Aloysius.
I know, rip.
Yeah. All you had to do is give him lettuce.
I know.
That would have been
Rubbish. What was I doing?
I know, yeah. You know, could have lived forever. 100 years. Anyway, don't want to make you feel guilty. Biggest success?
After my rubbish year in second year at uni, I got an award for being, like, having the top marks out of my year group. So I think that's probably my biggest success because it just shows how resilient I am.
Good on you. Favourite tattoo?
I've got one of Chili, my dog, high-fiving me on the back of my arm. That's probably my favourite.
Real story?
No, she can't high five, but we'll pretend.
Does she do paw?
Yeah, she does. She's really good at paw.
That sounds like a high five to me. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, that's the end of my questioning. So you'll be pleased to hear you can be relieved now. But
Nice.
Ellie, we have come to the end of our podcast. I just want to say what an amazing guest you've been. I'm so thankful that you've joined us. I know you've had a hard time, but I genuinely believe that what you're doing right now is changing a lot of people's lives. I know you don't like the word influencer, but you are influencing people. Keep doing what you're doing. You're welcome with us anytime. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.